Shalom, everyone. Greetings, saludos a todos. Leeds Rules, Jerry Streeter, Elliot Hall, Cody Broberg, Danny Diesel, Madame Medusa. Some spread lies, others know the truth. Who is who? Cody Broberg writes, better show your face this time. I felt so distant. There you go. There's my face. Greetings, everyone. Day 2 of day 1, but session 2 of I'm gonna have to fix that, aren't I? It's gonna really bug me. Of the quarantine slash lockdown. So, for those in the northwest, the Reebok Stadium, I think just outside Wigan or in Wigan, a big football stadium, or soccer stadium for the Americans, is a military base. So, Lars Magnus Nilsson, greetings. So, it's been a military base for a few days now. And I think, okay, dude, you have to be prepared. What if they call a real curfew, everybody home, and bandits start roaming around trying to get money for their drugs and their weapons? Good thing the military's there, huh? I don't know, some of you will be thinking, Antonio, what are you saying? Well, I'm just saying that's the situation right here. Lots of US troops in Europe doing what? Don't know, not really being announced, is it? But I thought, instead of going on about this virus, and here I am in new pyjamas, by the way. I wanted to play a song by Crash Test Dummies, but then I thought, nah, I'll probably get flagged or something. About spending days in pyjamas, which is kind of what I've done today. Whole day, pyjamas. Changed. Well, no, I mean, apart from when I went out shopping. Okay, so not really whole day and not real lockdown, because when I went shopping, it's Saturday, just totally normal, like any other day, other than seeing people indoors on quite a nice day, with scarves wrapped around their faces, well, their mouths, looking up sheepishly from over them at all these people not wearing masks. Shouldn't it be the people that are infected that wear them and not people that are not infected? Yeah, but people who are infected should be staying home, shouldn't they? Kind of thing. These rules. Seen lots of videos in use during lockdown of schools being fitted with 5G. Ooh, could this be just another, well, could this whole thing be used for many, many various different reasons? Like, you know, recalibrating the markets, fitting 5G, which they know so many people are against. Who knows what else? But I want to see what happens with 5G. I think there's a book by Stephen King called Cell. Read it. If you enjoy reading books, read it. It's a good book. got a weird ending, even weird for Stephen King. And I won't spoil it. But it's a very good book, and it's about cell towers, cell phones, mobile phones. But I thought instead of going on about the quarantine or the lockdown and all these things, I thought I'd bring it back to like the shape of the Earth and what this whole series of interesting, unexpected circumstance, the bizarreness of life. I never would have expected the Earth to turn out to be flat. It's just like not something that, you know, I grew up watching Star Wars just like everybody else. And turns out it's flat. Turns out the globe is just an idea. Well, yes, it is just an idea, and that's what I'm going to discuss today. For the next hour or so, I'm going to set myself a timer for an hour. And then, unless somebody wants to join me, which you might guess by the just popped into my head. If somebody wants to join me, oh damn it, we'd have to do it through StreamYard. Never mind. Next time I will do this through StreamYard. I'm currently using OBS, and I don't have any system for switching over cameras. But anybody who would like to join me, who wants to join me tomorrow or any other day in this lockdown period, let me know, and we'll do that. But for today, I'm going to discuss some of my thoughts. As if that's new. I'm just going to discuss some of my thoughts, not so much about the current situation, which is a great big question mark. Whatever it is, it's a question mark. We'll see afterwards. But right now, it's a question mark. Right now, we're living in the world, everybody's living in a world where in unison, we're all under the same question mark. For the last 5 years, the ones under the big question mark have been the globalings that have been watching these flat earth videos. Could it be? Could it? No, I can't be wrong. Satellites are real. So yeah, I'm going to discuss some of my thoughts. I'm going to just put out some of my thoughts to do with the Earth being flat and the illusion it gives of sphericity. Because the illusion of sphericity is there. You look at the northern stars, and it's always up, looking up. Look up, and stars rotate counterclockwise. Look south, they rotate clockwise. The Babylonians, pre-Babylonians, Neo-Babylonians, the Chaldeans, their model was a cylinder, and they're the guys that gave us the Saros cycle and the 360-degree protractor and the base 60 system. So 60 minutes, you know, and the minutes of arc and all that. It was guys who didn't think that the Earth was a cylinder. They knew the Earth was flat, but they knew that they could model it on a cylinder. And they did. Now, for the last 450 years or so, we've been using one calendar. Before that, for 1,500 or so years, we were using a different calendar that apparently worked perfectly fine for 1,500 years, but then was changed so that it would work better. As if society can't live with a calendar without having to change it drastically, like the Gregorian compared to the Julian. So, and this is all to do with looking up. The calendars are all to do with looking up. It's not to do with looking at your plants and see when spring comes, because sometimes spring comes early. But the calendar, the phases of the moon, the stellar observations, those are the things that dictate the calendar. So I'm just going to put some thoughts out there. What if in the next 3 months time changed? It's just a thought, okay? What if in the next 3 months, and this is just conspiracy theory, okay? What if in the next 3 months time changed and became either longer or shorter? If people were quarantined, after the 3 months, when they went back to their normal life, they would notice a small difference, which would be, oh, day seems to just go like that, or oh, day seems longer than it before the virus. And in the meantime, in the transition period, we're all going to go into a Zen state at one point or another of kind of boredom. Once people stop going out shopping, like I did today, like some of you might have done, because now shopping is not so much something you can just do freely in the future, you know, with the military on roadblocks and things like that, if that happens, people will get to a point where they've done all the things they wanted to do, and now they're, hola, Sara Ugarte, te dije que te diría hola, So, people will get to a point of boredom and tedium and days and weeks of tedium. This is how you lose track of time. Tedium. So, could that be another thing they're doing? Put in the 5G, tweak things so that it feels like it's the same time. If time, by the way, I'm not referring to time as just the tick-tock on the clock. I mean time, the real thing that passes, that the tick-tock of the clock is supposed to measure. What if that thing that is time also caused the quartz to vibrate at a slightly different frequency, elongating the tick-tock or shortening it? I don't know. Just a thought. Just, you know, I've got into the phase of tedium already. No, not really. Just a thought. Could happen. We changed calendars before. You know, Julian to Gregorian. Chinese didn't. The Arabs didn't. But they were kind of forced into it a little bit with the stock market and all of that. But they still use their calendars. In fact, if you have an Apple computer and you go to set your calendar, just look at the whole list of different calendars you can set it to. It's fascinating. But back to the flat earth. So things move in the sky, and this moving of things in the sky gave people the impression that the earth might be turning. That could explain it. So they thought, if the earth was turning, then this. Before that, they said, if the earth was a ball and the things were turning around us, of course, they couldn't say if the earth was a cylinder and it was just turning around us, because then people would say, well, how long is this cylinder? So, to give it the impression of truth, because you can't say, oh, I think the earth is an endless cylinder. People would just not have it. You can say the earth is a ball in endless space. There, just shift endless to somewhere else. And now, turns out, the earth is basically a pond in endless ice, on top of endless land, on top of, who knows, how far down does it go? Does it repeat? Do we live in a layer cake universe? Are the philosophers and the theoretical physicists who say parallel universe are possible, anything you can think of, and all of that? Yeah, just layers and layers of universes. Hey, didn't Michio Kaku say that before he kind of went silent? Remember Michio Kaku, guys, the Japanese astrophysicist? He was the guy that we were all told was the guy with the ideas and the information, if not the ideas. And then he said, yeah, universe is flat, lots of layers. And then, gone. Hello, Neil deGrasse Tyson, we saw you in the background there. Could it be that? Could. Would we ever really know from this point of view? Unlikely. Just like, can we really know what's going on with the coronavirus? Unlikely. Can you really know what goes on outside of your immediate sphere? Unlikely. There's all kinds of unknowns, and we're kind of totally all right with a whole bunch of them because we just don't give them importance. But then when people say, oh, well, then how thick is the crust of this flat Earth? Like, maybe it's endlessly deep. Who knows? But suddenly, because Globelings have this idea of, you know, a fixed kind of a unit of size with a certain weight, they say, well, you haven't got a unit of size with a certain weight, therefore yours doesn't count. Like, dude, you think New Zealand is farther south than it is. That's kind of significant, you know. People sailing from Sydney to New Zealand, it's kind of significant. If you've got it on your maps farther south, people are going to miss it. But of course, now they don't navigate like they used to. So they go, oh, we need to correct. Oh, we're being pushed south. We need to correct north. We need to, because they need to go north to get to New Zealand. They need to go northeast from Sydney. Anyway, so where we live is a physical realm. Okay, I'm not entertaining the idea of the simulation theory. It's infantile. Sorry, folks. If any of you think the simulation theory has legs, like, sorry, but it can be destroyed as simply as saying, yeah, you know the simulation theory is right because it was Jesus that programmed it. And suddenly, now, all your conviction that you might have had is in huge doubt. Because you have to think, oh, well, I can't say Jesus did not program it. And that completely goes against your belief. So, yeah. It's not good to think that something is true that's so easily dissolved with a question or with a proposition. You know, simulation theory is right because Jesus programmed it. And then he programmed Muhammad and all of that just for shits and giggles. Anyway, we live in a real place. This real place has lights in the sky. I mean, the sky becomes a light. But hey, you know, sometimes in the middle of the night, you can have the sky be exactly the same as the daylight sky, only without the sun, but same level of blue in the sky during lightning storms. You can look, I spent hours, I was thinking of making a video, but my software's on the other laptop, which is really messing up, so I didn't. But any of you can do this. Just spend some time looking at lightning storms in the night. And when you see the lightning, just move frame by frame and you see the whole sky light up like the midday sky. It's because what's lighting that up isn't illumination from the ray. It's a certain burst of a switch in the voltage in the air, a huge change. That's what lights the sky blue to the horizon during a lightning storm. You can watch the videos. I'm not going to share them now. I might do it next time. If somebody joins me next time and wants to see, I'll find some videos and share them. The point is, you can illuminate the sky. The sky can be illuminated exactly the same as in the day during the night with lightning, which is a sudden burst of it's a sudden switching state, a change, yeah, very sudden, spontaneous switch in state. It is not the lightning bolt has a certain amount of illumination that reaches out all the way to the horizon 360 degrees. That's not what it is. So if you can light the sky up at night with electricity like during lightning storms, then chances are the sky of the day is the same thing, only a lot more consistent. Just a charge of electricity. If you look at the details of what the theoretical physicists say about the Earth and about the Earth's sky, pretty close to what they say. They say, oh yeah, no, sun, very distant, sends microwave radiation. This microwave radiation goes through the Van Allen radiation belts, changes, becomes slightly longer, and now becomes something that can actually charge, electrically charge the atmosphere and gives us a blue of the sky. Okay, that's what they say. But you can't triangulate the sun. you can give the impression of triangulating the sun, but with this globe, but you've got to pretend that there's a globe there with curvature to triangulate the sun. Otherwise, you're not triangulating the sun. And you can't just make up curvature, although globe beings obviously do. They pretend there's curvature there. They pretend things disappearing in the distance is because of curvature, even though things disappear in the distance when they go up to. You know, it's just like, oh, now it's too small to see. No horizon there. But if you say this to any of them, then you just get this dun 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 blink thing. Either the very fast blink or dung. Like complete just stalled. Duh. Anyway, so charge in the sky gives light. This charge in the sky isn't a charge that's just a nebulous charge. It's charge along filaments. There's order to it. The filaments are what give us the holoprismatic sun. You know, you get a hologram. Eric Dubay had a series of videos on consciousness and reality and holograms. You take a hologram, it's got a picture. You cut a portion of that hologram, it's got the whole picture. Cut a small, tiny. That would be a hologram. If you said the hologram is the sky, it's like, oh look, the day sky, it has the sun. Now cut this piece here. It's like, oh look, this piece here has got the sun. Like, what does this piece represent? Well, the whole hologram represents all of the sky with this nadir of the sun on the earth somewhere. And this little piece here just represents the sun as seen from some other point. Still the sun. Anyway, that's a different way of expressing the holoprismatic nature of the sun. But it's filaments, and when you see the sun, it's filaments that are reaching into your eye. That's what's happening, or that are reaching into the camera. Filaments, literal filaments, beams. And curiously, even astrophysicists use the word beams and rays. They're supposed to be talking about photons or waves. But oh no, beam. Yeah, it's a beam. It's a beam. So we have lights in the sky. They move. It gave people the impression that we're on a ball. But later it turned out, oh no, that's just an impression that you were given. The guys that, by the way, this is something that you probably won't hear coming from a modern astronomer, but modern astronomy comes from the whole system of modern astronomy comes from the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, the guys that gave us the Saros cycle 2,000-3,000 years before Christ, before the program was switched on. Those guys, thousands of years before, like way before Eratosthenes, those guys, they're the guys that had a cylinder as a model. Because a cylinder you can divide into 360 degrees. And obviously it's flat, so you have a horizon and 360 degrees. So, we have objects in the sky. We have things we call objects in the sky. Lights in the sky. They move. The way they move gives an impression. That impression is used to calculate and make predictions about the movement of those objects. That's what I was going to say that's what that's for. That's what astronomy is for. That's also what astrology is for. You know, the big brother of astronomy, or even the father of astronomy. The whole purpose of studying the skies isn't just something we can look at. It's to make predictions. All of astronomy is about making predictions. Now we have astronomers who are making up stories about things in the distance because they've worked into their ideas this distance and endless space. The guys who created it didn't have ideas about distance and endless space. They just had ideas about the Earth, time, and things moving. And they wanted to see what was going to happen so they could check. They knew already how often, how regularly things happen, like the eclipses. They knew what happens just before, during, and just after. There are real changes. If you spend any time looking at ancient Chinese emissaries to Rome or to the Assyrian Empire, if you look at stories written by Chinese travelers who went and had discussions and made trade with the places that became part of the Silk Route or the Silk Road, those guys explain what the technology the guys that were going to see had, what their civilizations looked like, what things they had. Some of them had gold-plated roofs. That's very insulating. It's also very charging. Depends how you use it. But never mind that. If you're interested, go and look. There's some interesting things we have in the real world, and none of it talks about the Earth being a sphere. They're just talking about, you know, getting there, how things work, how rain was used, all manner of stuff. So we live on a plane. We have lights in the sky. People pay attention to those lights for reasons they don't even understand. The majority of astronomers don't know why astronomy exists in the first place. Amateur astronomers, I'll say. People who've studied it will probably study the history of astronomy, but they won't. And, by the way, in their history of astronomy, they probably weren't told, oh, and those guys thought the Earth was flat, you know, and that they were the center of the universe, and that they owned the whole of the world, you know, that they had conquered all of the world. They might have done if the world ended at ice, and once the ice broke, the Chinese started going across, going, oh, going on here, oh, gold roofs, Anyway, but back to reality, or back to now. We have a charge in the sky that brings daytime. We have a different charge in the sky that brings nighttime. These are real charges. Some of these charges have names like cosmic background radiation or cosmic rays. There's just rays, filaments. Just words that scientists give to the change between the day and the night. Obviously you have a lot more Kelvin in the day than in the night. Just a different way of measuring the electrical potential, the charge in the sky that comes down to the Earth. And then there's another charge in the sky that goes up from the Earth, but that one's hardly ever discussed because it's a problem, because unless they discuss it as heat, but they often don't even discuss it as heat because it's more of an electrical charge, a non-heating electrical charge that goes up. Just like there's a charge that comes down, there's one that goes up. It's what gives levity. It's a paternoster system. We also have magnetism on the surface of the Earth and reaching up towards the sky. And we also have a countering magnetism. You see, when we hear about the magnetic poles and geomagnetism, and we then hear about when you listen to astrophysicists talking about it, and obviously they're talking about the globe Earth. The Earth has magnetism generated by the hot iron cores. No, it isn't. But never mind that. It's onion layers. Eventually, it gets to a point where it's no longer magnetism. It's now radiation of certain frequencies, and we call that the Van Allen radiation belts, which filter out some of the radiation coming from the sun, the distant sun, filters it out and makes it into a kind of magnetism that can resist the Earth's magnetism, and the Earth resists it. And it's this exchange between different magnetic fields, one coming from the sun and one coming from the Earth, going back, well, going out. There's all kinds of problems with that idea. I mean, we're talking magnetism here, and we can't think that the sun's magnetism is kind of something to be shirked at in the globe model, in which case the hell is going on with satellites when they go from the place that's facing the sun, that boundary with lots of charge that way and some this way, to around the side? They would just shoot off, wouldn't they, around the ball? What's stopping them from shooting off? Oh, gravity making it go like this. We're talking magnetism, which is millions of times stronger than gravity. So, nah. Anyway, satellites and spherical Earth, big. It's a big headache for the Globelings. Satellites, especially the ones that are launched by cable, or even thrown into orbit by an astronaut. I showed it in a video on my previous channel. They're launching a satellite. There is an astronaut. It's a nano satellite, mini satellite, made by a university in South America. I think it was in Lima or Peru, Lima or Santiago. I think it was Lima. Anyway, and just throws it. There you go. Just throw it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just that alone should make Globelings go, that can't be real. There's no chance that that can be real. There is no system for making it shoot off at a specific direction to get into a specific curve to continue. No, just throws it towards the Earth a bit. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. Isn't it going to continue falling towards the Earth and just crash on Earth? What's going to stop it falling towards the Earth and start going round? That's, oh my God. Anyway, back to the charges in the sky. We have a charge that goes up from the Earth, and part of that charge is magnetic. Part of the charge is not magnetic, and it's never discussed because it's a problem for the Globelings because they don't have a theory for it. We have a charge coming down and a charge going up. There's an actual point where these charges kind of meet, where they make like a membrane. The charge from above with the charge from below. A membrane. You can call it a membrane. It isn't an actual membrane, but if a membrane is just what separates one thing from another, like a bubble from the outside of the bubble, the water itself provides the membrane, but it isn't a thing that's distinct from the rest of the water. So this is what I'm talking about. This line, this bubble, this layer, okay? I'm going to refer to it as a membrane. This membrane has a height from the Earth of approximately 400 miles in the vast majority of the Earth, but it dips down to approximately 120 miles over the Atlantic. This is what causes, or this is part of the South Atlantic Magnetic Anomaly, which, by the way, they call it South Atlantic, although it crosses the equator. Okay, so it goes north of the equator. Just the majority of it is in the south. Okay, but it does cross into the north. So if you were to visualize this or draw it, or if any of you guys, these rules, if any of you guys are good with like 3D programming, if you were to draw like Walter Bisling, sorry, I always put a G. Walter Bislin, who's been making models of various different things, if you were to draw that or create that, so generate that so it was visible, you'd have a change between the farthest area from the magnetic anomaly having this height. So this would be the difference. This would be the region. Okay, let me see. I can't see myself. Oh yeah. This region here, like this. This region, 120 miles. And this region, 400 miles. You can't see, but I can't be bothered moving my camera. The region over China, 400 miles. Now, that's in the daytime. So, in the day, the light in this region, the membrane in that region has a height from the ground or from the ocean of approximately 400 miles. In this region of approximately 120 miles. That's the day, just the day. Okay, the charge that we call day. Oh, let me move this. I'm seeing myself talking. It's distracting. This region 120. This region 400. Okay. When this region is illuminated by the light that brings the sun, what's going on in this region? Does that region still have the membrane there? Is the membrane there continuously? Whilst this region is of 120, this is referring to the magnetosphere in the terms of geophysics, the magnetosphere. 120 miles, 400 miles. When this is day and that's night, is that membrane still there? According to the geophysicists, not really. It's only the membrane is only there where the sun is. They think the membrane is caused by the sun, and I'm referring to the membrane as the magnetosphere. Okay. At the front of the Earth, you have the globe Earth. You have this region here being pushed down by the sun, but at the back of the Earth, it just reaches out infinitely into space. Wouldn't that be an interesting thing to draw on the flat Earth? Well, the next time I'll show you what that looks like for just one instance in the day. I'm trying to make a... God, you know when you have too many things on at the same time? I'm trying to rewrite the book, finish the book that I was writing, but kind of give it a redo, a kind of big drastic change. But also put my mind to illustrating these things. Because we've seen them all illustrated with the globe. Globe, Earth, magnetism, light from the sun, magnetism pushing and trail. And these things do take place. It's not all theory, by the way. It really isn't all theory. When they send off satellites into the sky, they're not just trying to rip Americans off with NASA or Europeans off with the European Space Agency. They're studying this place. That they process it through a globe for the masses, it doesn't matter. The stuff they study is real stuff. So I'm going to put it into an illustration. going to be interesting. I want to make it into a cartoon, but that will take some time. But hey, don't we all have time, especially now? We've just been given an extra 3 months. Right, that's it. Now I'm going into the chat. I just wanted to point this out. You know, the charge of the day, the daylight, that people think it's the sun. Like, no, you can have it in the nighttime too, for an instant when there's a lightning flash. Every time that there's a lightning flash, it happens. So what would the day be? A continuous exchange of that flash. And instead of being from the sky just making its way to ground, it's from the sky consistently, a continuous exchange that's being pushed around. The whole thing is being pushed around by the night. Right, now I'm going into the chat. I see some people highlighted my name, so I'm going to read those comments. Madame Medusa, shalom. How are you doing? Remember you saying the military were training underground? I think this is going on now. USA have had several earthquakes over these areas. Madame Medusa, it was the US military that reported it in the Jane's, is it called the Jane's Weapons Monthly? Something like that. They reported it. If anybody wants to do a search, you can do a search for military training underground or military training underground megacities. Lee's Rules, cool. I just read your comment. I'd love to join the panel and have a great conversation another day. Excellent. Okay, we'll do that. From now on, what I'll do, instead of doing these through OBS, I will do them through StreamYard, and that way anybody can join, anybody who wants. Flat Albert, this is already happening to my 17-year-old daughter. What is Flat Albert? Oh, right. I've scrolled back. Are you talking about the tedium, the stage of tedium? Dan Winfield writes, fancy a bat curry soon? I certainly do. I tell you what, I do. Yes, I do. I fancy a nice bat vindaloo. Oh my gosh. So where did AIDS come from? Oh, monkeys. Yeah, Africans and monkeys, that's what. Oh, what about this Chinese thing? Oh, bats. Chinese and bats. Oh, right. Okay. Huh. So I'm just scrolling through the chat. Right. Sorry, I was just caught reading. So Danny Diesel, yes, part of my new book. Not the. There's a series of illustrations in the new book. I've only sketched out a few of them, and obviously they will not be sketched. They'll be a bit more professionally finished. But the animation that I will do sooner or later. No, that won't be in the book. Although I could add, I don't know how many extra pages and make it into a flip book at the back, but no, I wouldn't be that cruel. Right, that's it, folks. I don't know how long I've been on, but I think I'm going to bail. I've got an urge to eat. Does this tell me how long I've been on? Let's see. 50 minutes or so. Yeah, okay. Oh, and Team Meg, I see in the chat, and Zenboy 2000. Oh, I see lots of you all you guys in the chat. Listen, guys, I'm going to cut this one short because I'm getting kind of hungry, and so I'm going to go and eat. My cat is happily sleeping over there, and all is well with the world. And this is really day one of the lockdown. I wonder if at the end of the first month or the first 30 days, things will stay as they are, or if there are predictions that certain elements of society will start going nuts and becoming rebellious, which would justify the military. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There's also the possibility that a miracle cure will be found. It'll be something like aspirin. Yeah, we're paracetamol and ibuprofen. We're overlooking aspirin. Aspirin cures it immediately. There you go, everyone. There's a possibility that could happen. You know, that would be the announcement, not that it would really happen in the real world, because you can't kill a virus that doesn't exist. It's the genius of this. But there you go. Right, folks, that's it. I'm bailing, and I'm gonna, I don't know, watch something. I tell you what, it has been a bit of a peculiar day. I've been watching. I didn't even know this existed. There are competitions in tag. You know, where somebody runs after somebody else. There are like professional tag playing. It's kind of like parkour. And then I've been watching some climbing, you know, speed climbing and things I wouldn't normally watch. So maybe it's starting to affect me. Not really. Right, folks, that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, Harry Diesel shares, I think. I will look at that later. Right, folks, thank you very much. I will see you again tomorrow at an earlier time. Ciao. Shalom. Adeu.